Where is your empathy? With inquiry into the Emergency Measures Act underway, this is something I have heard from people like Global News' Rachel Gilmore. Where is my empathy? It was destroyed by people like you. You want to know why I don't feel empathy for the people of downtown Ottawa? Because they had none for me. You ask for our empathy when you refuse to show us any. Over the last 2 years, you treated us like criminals even though we committed no crime. You rejected us from society because we made a different choice than you did. Because we didn't trust the vaccine that was rushed through production that had no trial period by companies that refused to be held accountable if their product harmed or killed people. You say that this was about not being able to get on a plane. We say it is about not being able to work, to support our family, or feed our kids. Why should I show empathy and compassion to people that would gladly have seen my pregnant wife starving on the streets because she didn't want to get a shot, afraid of how it would affect our unborn child? You say we deserve it because we made the choice not to get it. Never before has a personal medical choice yielded such massive repercussions from society. You rejected us from your society, but you asked for our acceptance. You got together with your friends and family, but told ours to disavow and reject us.
Are you going to invite your unvaccinated relatives to sit at the dinner table with you this Thanksgiving? Experts are saying you might not want to risk it, but kids can't get vaccinated yet. So part of keeping those kids as safe as possible is telling that one uncle who chooses not to get vaccinated that he might have to sit this one out.
You blame us for spreading the disease when we couldn't even get into the bars and the restaurants. We tried to host our own events and barbecues, and you brought the police to break us up. We tried to keep our businesses open, but you had them shut down and our people arrested. We wanted to choose whether to wear the mask, but you took that choice away from us. We tried to visit our sick and dying family members, but you wouldn't allow it. We tried to go to their funerals, but you wouldn't allow that either. We tried to mind our own business and be left alone, but you wouldn't leave us alone. We wanted our kids to go to school, but you wouldn't allow it. In fact, you had all children isolated from their friends, leading them to loneliness, depression, drug use, and suicide. You used kids as a meat shield because you were afraid. You began suggesting abhorrent recommendations about how we should be treated. You suggested that we be fired, that we should be forced to pay for our own healthcare even though we already paid through our taxes. You suggested that we should have our homes repossessed and placed in a re-education camp. You called for violence to be used against us. Some even suggested that we should be killed. You advocated for making our lives as difficult as possible and did everything in your power to make that a reality. If we were any other group, you would be up in arms over this sort of treatment. You would call it unacceptable, intolerable. You would ask, how is this acceptable in the current year? But we are not another group, and you are the perpetrators. We spent years trying to plead our case, but you ridiculed, ignored, and dismissed us. Our concerns fell on deaf ears. After all this, when we finally had enough, we organized. We descended on the Capitol in a show of force so that we couldn't be ignored or dismissed anymore. Still, you wouldn't engage, so we stayed. For weeks, we stayed waiting for someone to hear our concerns. You called us every terrible name you could think of. You called us terrorists and claimed we laid siege to the Capitol, which only shows your ignorance on what a siege truly is. I, unlike most of you hearing this, live in this city. Most people remained unaffected. The people of Stittsville carried on. Canada was unaffected. Barhaven and Manotick took no notice. Nepean, it was business as usual. Life was normal in Riverside South. Gloucester kept puttering away, and the people of Orleans, it was just another day. The people went to work, they did their shopping, they visited their family and their friends. The city carried on, except the downtown core was cleaner than it ever had been. Finally, you sicked your attack dogs on us. You beat us, dragged us away, took our property, gassed us, shot at us, brutalized, and abused us. Despite all this, we didn't fight back. Despite what you claim, there are hundreds of hours of video that show the opposite was true. Despite your claim to be against police brutality, you cheered as you watched the police cross the line and brutalize us, hold us down, kneeing us in our ribs, beat our heads in with their butt of their guns. You ask, where is our empathy? Where was yours? You failed to show any. Over the course of years, you showed none. You throw around nasty accusations about who we are. And while some are true, you embody these personality traits fully. You think we are inconsiderate, selfish, cruel, rude, and so much more. We only started behaving this way after the way you treated us. You don't like who we are? What we have become? Then look in the mirror. You claim you did what you did for the benefit of all, but you only did it for yourselves. You demanded the world change to accommodate you, and if that world didn't change willingly, then you would force it to change to make yourselves feel better. Let there be no mistake. We are not the same. We are not your kind. We will not bow to you, concede to you in any way. We will not pervert and denigrate our principles to placate you. We will not give up on our goal of being able to decide what is best for ourselves. We are not compatible. We saw the dangerous road our country was walking. You took no notice or agreed with it. I blame you, more than I blame the government, for where we ended up. You enabled them. You were their useful idiots. There will be no forgiveness for what you have done. The die was cast, the chips were down, and you showed the type of person you really are. The one that lurks beneath the false exterior you created and that you show to the world. We will look after each other. You will continue to devour yourselves until there is nothing left. You are weak in spirit, we are strong. Where is our empathy? We have saved it for each other. For those that stood shoulder to shoulder with us, who helped us out when no one else would. We do not have empathy or compassion for you, because you have not earned that from us and you do not deserve it from us. We never gave you a reason to treat us this way, but you gave us many reasons to treat you this way. We are not your kind. You could never do what we did. Be who we are. We stood against the world, against the most powerful governments and industries and individuals, and we didn't back down. That is why you hate us. We are stronger in will than you could ever dream. We are the people you wish you could be. We are not the same, and we are not your kind.